Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Uncropped. Today, we are getting the fun opportunity to talk to someone who I've worked with many times in the past, but never on a project this big. So we're here to welcome Coleen.
Hello.
Would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself to our audience if they happen to not know you before or today?
Sure. So, as Michael said, my name is Coleen. Actually, it's Coleen Finn, but whatever. This is my first time doing a podcast like this. I've worked with Michael, as he said, on many various films before, although they've all been short films. This is the first time, River's Edge is the first time that we've ever done a full feature-length film, so it's an entirely different beast. He and I knew each other from Keene State, which it's an interesting thing how we became friends because he didn't want to be friends with me at first.
I don't think it was I didn't want to be friends with you. I got a weird impression of you in the first class that I took with you, so I didn't know if you were a person I wanted to hang out with because of the impression I got from you. But
yeah,
I was wrong,
sitting next
and I'm
to.
glad that I was wrong because you're a great person.
Yeah, because I was sitting next to somebody that you didn't like.
Yes, and you were making constant conversation with someone I didn't like at the time. So sorry.
Oh well. Well, see, this is what happens when you learn that you're wrong, and then you end up getting a good friendship out of this.
Yeah, I mean, so far it's all worked out.
Yeah. But back to River's Edge. So for River's Edge, I was assistant camera. And sometimes assistant camera led into on days and moments where I was actual DP.
Yep, we had some of those for sure.
It kind of bled over a little bit, and also I was kind of like set designer too. I did a lot of set deck, which Peter helped me out. Murphy was definitely for a lot of it. But I, especially for the living room scenes, kind of took the reins.
Yeah.
I made the house kind of look like it was lived in.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of questions about those beer bottles.
Yeah. So I think we should start off with the most in-depth conversation that we're going to have here is how you and I and Piper as well were able to work with the props and the set deck type situation, because the thing with working on a set with so many different people is everyone has so many different ideas of how to represent places and represent settings and represent that kind of stuff. So we had moments where we agreed and disagreed on things. But I remember there's this specific moment where like we were talking about I think a set of beer bottles or whatever, and we were talking about the different opinions that we had on how many should be in a shot, how many should be in a scene, whatever may work, and based on the progression of time in the film, which is a challenging thing to calculate. We had like a solid 10-15 minute discussion about it just in order to get our thoughts straight and get our communication down on that. I want to know your thoughts on that whole situation, not a situation, that conversation and how we handled it, because it's tough with conflicting opinions to be on the same page all the time. So how did you take that situation?
So to start with, I kind of, and now everyone else will know a little bit that
you don't have to talk about that if you don't want to, by the way.
Snap, Crackle, Pop, Rice Krispies. Well, no, because it makes sense as to like my opinion for the whole beer bottle thing. Is I in the past have had experience with someone who is, let's just say, similar in line to Doug. So, it's so funny. You just made a face, and you no one's gonna know you made that face but me.
I know. That's the fun part. I get to hide behind this blank screen of them just listening to the podcast instead of actually seeing my face.
Yeah. But anyway, so because of my own past experience that I was bringing to the film and my firsthand account of what it's like to live with someone like that, I kind of knew that I was bringing into the idea that typically someone who is an alcoholic doesn't usually clean up from after themselves, especially if it's the way that we were portraying Doug. Sometimes, or a lot of times, I mean, for people who are alcoholics, it's a wide spectrum. Some people leave a trail behind, and some people hide. But, you know, when we were going with Doug, it didn't seem like he was going to be the kind of person to hide his alcoholism. Especially considering we had scenes where he was yelling at Cash with a beer bottle in his hand. So, that was kind of like where my thought process was going, where I was leaning more towards he's probably someone who isn't going to be cleaning up after himself, especially considering we were keeping the rest of the house relatively messy anyway. And then even with the scene when we were in, when we were doing Doug's room, you and I had talked a little bit and decided that it would be best to have, like, you know, laundry thrown out and strewn about, because Doug himself, as a character, he's a mess.
Yeah, he's like the epitome of a mess.
And the thing that was getting me a hard time, like, getting through or getting past, was that Hadley was constantly cleaning up after him. That anytime Hadley would be in the scene, because of her own nature, because we weren't showing anything, we were leaning into the assumption that she would just clean up after everybody else and after Doug. And we never really saw that. We were just kind of leaning into it. So that's where my mindset was, where it was like, and we had this conversation already. You know, we had the conversation where, you know, we were not telling and we weren't really showing. We were just showing that there was no beer bottles and stuff. And we were showing that and saying that this guy is supposed to be, as you put, the epitome of a mess. Both, you know, and he was supposed to be abusive and all this. He's supposed to be probably one of the worst parents that a kid could be dealt with. Is that?
Yeah, that's pretty much there. He's not like one of the worst parents a kid could deal with, because I know there are people that have experienced and gone through so much worse than what Doug puts Cash through, and I'm not gonna take that and say, oh, this is the word. No, but he's pretty crappy to Cash, especially. He favors Hadley over Cash, but Hadley kind of Hadley kind of is the perfect child and cleans up after him and kind of witnesses both sides of this situation, and if that makes sense at all.
Yeah, and that's where, like, a lot of this conversation came from, where, you know, a lot of times, you know, I mean, I think we got towards, like, kind of like the end of the living room scenes that we were filming by the time we had this long conversation. And most of the other times when we got through those scenes where I was feeling weird about the beer bottles and I was, like, talking to you about it, and you, rightly so, were very busy because you're the director and you were juggling so many things. You were juggling Will's cooking. And when I say Will is cooking, I don't mean food.
I don't know those listening, why that started being a thing on set.
I need to clarify if anyone listening doesn't understand what I mean when I say Will's cooking. Because basically anytime he would go to film a scene and he was processing the scene and he was thinking about what he was going to do, he would just yell out, "All right, let me cook. Let me figure this out. I am cooking." And then when he got really good ideas, he'd be like, "Okay, now I'm cooking." We had an interesting set, didn't we?
Yeah, I know. And that, like, we would always say Will is cooking, and
yeah.
Oh my God, it was such an experience because working with people younger than us, they bring all this new energy.
Okay.
And yes, we're still Gen Z, and we're not old by any means, but these people are younger. So they actually use the new terminology and stuff.
Well, Will's not even that much younger than you.
He's not. He's
only a few months younger than you.
7.5 months younger than me.
Yeah. Left turn, leading us back into where we were before. So a lot of the stuff, basically, you were busy. You didn't have a chance to really talk to me. And also, Piper didn't really have that much of a chance to talk to me either, and I was trying to talk to both of you about my thing, and it kind of got to, for me, for most of those scenes, it was, okay, yeah, I don't totally agree, and I wasn't thinking that you guys, like, saw my perspective on it in the moment until we had that conversation. So, and I didn't really fully understand you guys' perspective either, but my mindset was, okay, their director and AD, assistant director. I know, people probably should know what that means anyway.
It's okay. It's always good to clarify. Whenever we had Will on and we said DP, I was like, just to clarify, DP is director of photography, because some people don't know all the terminology.
Yeah. And so the director and the assistant director are the head, and they make the final decision and stuff. And if they say that there's going to be no beer bottles in the scene because Hadley cleans it up, even though we don't see it, well, then there's no beer bottles in the scene. I mean, I think what I would have liked at some point would have been a very quick moment where you see her sit down and move a beer bottle. But at the same time, that would have been just a small thing that could have easily been cut out or cut in or whatever. And it doesn't matter now because we are in post.
Very much so. But I wanna touch on your perspective there, because what you said, yes, Piper and I do have final say, and I didn't want to make it seem like you weren't valued as your role, but I think what we were able to do is we had this certain, Piper and I especially had this like certain vision kind of for Doug and how he handles his stuff and how the family interactions are around that and that topic. I think the main point that we had is we didn't want to make it, yes, it was a thing for Doug. Yes, it was a part of the reason why he was as bad as he was. But also there are more things than just that makes him a bad person. There's, I mean, I'm not going to say, but in a scene, he says it's how his dad treated him. It's ingrained in him. So I don't want it to seem like, oh no, we weren't trusting you because of what you know. It's we didn't want to make alcoholism the main part of why Doug is an asshole. And I think that we had this conversation on set, and we had the conversation where we were just genuinely talking about like your perspective versus our perspective for about 10 minutes. It was a very productive conversation. From that point on, we had a really, really good mutual understanding of where each other were coming from and how to move forward from there. Unfortunately, it was later in the living room scenes where that stuff was actually prominent. So the last couple of scenes that we did for that were fine, but the first few we had a little bit of back and forth about this many bottles, whatever. So we had some back and forth, unfortunately, but That's just how you communicate. And we learned that we should, in future projects where we're working together, if you're doing props again or whatever, whoever is props, I want to like kind of go through the backstory and my thought process of that beforehand, so it doesn't become more counterproductive. Because we did have times where we were like taking 5 minutes to go back and forth about it, and that is counterproductivity, and that's not on anyone in particular. That's just on us for not talking about it beforehand. So I think that's a big learning experience for us. But yeah, eventually once we had that talk, just like sat down and talked like about this is the real reason behind why, and it was great from there on.
Yeah. I mean, also at the same time, like I said, you were busy. You know, you had so many, you and Piper both had so many things struggling that like you didn't have the time. There just wasn't time to do that. And I never like, held that against you guys, maybe I didn't always understand the logic and the reasoning, but at the same time, I also was like, okay, well, they have a vision and they have final say because they're director and AD. I may not agree, but they have final say. And I feel like that's kind of like how it is for a lot of things, for a lot of films in general, where, the director does have a certain vision and they have a right, at least in my opinion, to follow that vision. I mean, back when you and I were doing Shouting, I had a certain vision in the beginning and for some of those interviews, and we went with it and we found out that it didn't work, unfortunately, walking on campus with it. That would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been awesome if you were able to nail that, but unfortunately it just didn't work.
It wasn't
properly.
feasible.
Yeah.
And sometimes filming can be trial and error. You go through, you follow your vision. Sometimes the vision doesn't work, and you also have to be, at least in my opinion, open to other people's perspectives, other people's ideas, but also you don't let it's kind of like it's a balancing act, because you can't go so far to the point where someone else is taking over the role of your director, of your own vision. Because we had that in the film previous.
Yeah, and it's a really tough situation. I don't want that to happen, because I know you were the person that was the director in that previous experience that had their vision taken away from them, and I didn't want that to be a situation again, because, I mean, as much as you know me, from the very beginning, I'm like, people, tell me your opinions, please. I want to have everyone be as involved as possible. And I've said this a million times on the podcast already. I want people to have as much of an experience to see different perspectives and get their opinions in there. But at the same time, I don't want Piper and I to have to stray far away from our vision. And when there was a perfect example when I think Piper and I talked about it in our episode, but we had an experience with Will and Jacob where they personally thought that we should cut a scene, and Piper and I genuinely did not think that was a good idea, and we didn't want to, and that was our call. But we didn't just say no. Piper and I moved aside, talked about our perspective as to why. What's our real reasoning? Why is it important to the story? Then we brought Jacob and Will, and we were like, okay, tell me your why. And then Will tell us our why, and we'll kind of go back and forth about it. And we had a 5-minute talk about it, and Jacob and Will were like, okay, we'll keep it, we'll film it. And then actually the other day, Will texted me, and we were talking about that moment. And then
yeah, I mean, I remember that day on set.
Yeah, that day was a really tough day. And he texted me the other day. He was like, was it scene 10 or 11 that I was saying we should cut on set? I said scene 10. And then he texted me. He was like, either way, you were right. They both need to be there. So I think that, and also, you know me, I'm like the kind of person where I'd rather film it and have it and then not need it later than not film it and regret not having it. Because if we had not filmed it, the literal proof right here, we would have regretted it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
And I want to get people's opinions, and I want to have that communication going well between people. And you and I, we've worked well enough where we have good communication for the most part. We all have our moments of not having the best communication, but that's just how life is. That's just how it works sometimes. But
hey, was it you say words are hard?
Words are hard a lot of the time. They certainly are, and I've learned that many a time. But when words work well, they aren't as hard. So I kind of take that as your most challenging experience on set, was that, like, that conversation that we had and navigating that. Yeah.
I think for the most part, that was kind of the most challenging thing was, and it's so funny because it's something so simple as like a beer bottle. But at the same time, those beer bottles can really, drive something in, even though it's in the background, it can move something one way or the other. And I understand that was your whole thought process on it. Like, now I understand. If I had known back, I mean, that's all. I think that's also the reason why they say, like, hindsight being 20/20 type thing. Because if I had known what I know now back on, like, the first day that we were filming those scenes, it would have been totally different. But then again,
totally.
All those scenes, I mean, granted, I haven't really seen much. So far, they've come out really good.
They've come out amazing. So I want it. Sorry, there's a car alarm going off. They have come out amazing. As Will and I are editing and getting color correction, everything going, it's looking really, really good. So I want you to be proud of that, what you guys did on that, because the set design looks amazing. It makes perfect sense. It doesn't feel overdone. It doesn't feel underdone. I think that it was right. Yeah, I think it was done right.
To be fair, there were some days where we were falling, I would only say a little behind schedule. We never fell super behind schedule. And there were also a lot of days where we were ahead of schedule, dude.
Yeah, my main concern throughout this whole production timing wise was being behind schedule. And because we already had, like, our schedule packed. Like, this. You looked at the calendar with me, like, right before we were filming, and we were like, holy fuck. This is packed. And like you said, I think the first day we were behind because we were still getting our groove. It was our first day, like, understandably so. Second and third days, we were like hours ahead. Yeah. And then we had a couple days where we were like an hour behind. Not too bad, honestly. Half an hour, 15 minutes here or there. You know me, I'm always liking to be as ahead as possible, as much as possible.
I mean, that's we did what really they taught us in school.
Yeah.
Is if, you're earlier on time type thing.
Exactly. Like, I want to be done. Like, if we're filming scene 57 from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., I want to be done at 4 and getting ready for the next shot at 4 o'clock or 4:05. So I think we did a great job time management wise, because you also acted as a producer on this film. So you kind of know the whole process of behind the scenes and how stressful that was to get the schedule going and all that stuff. But I think we did a good job, all things considered, being a 16-person crew and 4-person cast and not having a lot of experience and never filming a feature film before. Like, we've never done this.
And I mean, this is kind of like a good segue to the skeleton crew too, because, like, that idea that you had to do the skeleton crew, I feel like really helped a lot, because there were times where we were behind, and when you guys did the skeleton crew, your decision in who to bring was probably one of the better decisions, not one of the better decisions, because you made a lot of good decisions.
Are you saying I made a lot of bad decisions? Is this what I'm hearing out of you, Coleen? No, I know what you're saying.
Let's not go down the road that words are hard again, all right?
No, go ahead. Continue complimenting me, please. It feeds my ego.
I would rather feed your ego than Will's.
Oh, true. Okay. Yeah, good idea.
All right.
Continue.
But no, basically what I'm saying with the skeleton crew is that concept I think is one of the things that kept us on schedule or even ahead of schedule for a lot of things. I mean, there were times where, and I can say this now, that I had wished that I was part of the skeleton crew. That, like, I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be part of those scenes and stuff. But also, this goes back to my whole philosophy of you're the director, you know what's best. If you make a decision, I'm not going to argue with your decision.
And so, first off, to define skeleton crew is like our bare bones personnel, like one camera person, lighting, director, actors, and sound 1 or 2 people. So it's like 5 or 6 people.
It's absolute essential.
Actors. It's basically the bare minimum, bare essential people that we need. And we did that for quite a bit, especially towards the end of the shoot when we started learning what the best situations were. Also, a lot of our more complex shoots were at the beginning of filming where we would need all the people. But I want to say that it's not that I didn't want anybody at Skeleton. Like, I think that... Oh my God. One second.
I heard that motorcycle.
Yeah, people or something. But it's not that I didn't want people at shoots. It's like I wanted you at every scene. I wanted Carter at every scene. I wanted Jacob at every scene. I wanted everyone at every single scene that we filmed. But it's a matter of the fact that we have fewer people to manage and fewer people to make sure that are on the right thing and on the same page. That makes it so much more efficient. Mm-hmm. Because I will say, all the skeleton crew stuff that we filmed, most of them we finished early. Reason being, fewer people to manage, more efficient, fewer takes, because we didn't have to check in on every single person. We had Murphy on lighting, Will on camera, Jacob doing script supervision, Maddie doing sound, Isaiah acting, and myself directing. That's it. That's like, what, 6 people, 7 people?
Yeah.
And one person for each thing. And yes, it was more challenging sometimes only having like one person doing audio, one person doing camera. But we were able to work through it quicker because we wouldn't have to be, okay, where's Coleen to figure out this as well? Where's Aiden to figure out this? Where's Angus? Where's all these people to figure this stuff out? We didn't have to do that. It was just, okay, let's try this. And it worked most of the time because we were able to think quickly. So again, it wasn't a matter of I didn't want you on Skeleton Crew. It was a matter of what is the quickest, most efficient way to get this done with the fewest amount of people.
Yeah. And to be clear, you also, it was the bare essentials, and those bare essentials are people that were absolutely needed. And it just happened that I just wasn't absolutely needed, and that's totally fine. Like, I wasn't upset about it. Like I said, and I'm saying this now, that, like, I wish that, like, there were some times where I was part of it. But at the same time, it was for the betterment of the film that, like, you know, some people weren't there and that you were doing a Skeleton Crew. And also, this is why I prefaced that it was a good idea that you were doing it.
Well, I appreciate that because I was hesitant about doing it as much as we did, but I'm glad it worked out and that you think it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like it was a much needed time for the people who weren't part of the Skeleton Crew to kind of go back to the Airbnb, relax, take some time to chill, rest up, because we'd been working a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, we were up and at 'em probably 10 hours a day, 9 hours a day, every day while we were filming, and that's a lot. Like, that can get old and painful, actually, really quickly. So I want to make sure everyone was able to get rest and sleep and just take care of themselves and eat food. And so having the Skeleton Crew do that, do the shoots, and having the rest of everyone else kind of just go back, relax, take time, take care of themselves, that was important to me because I don't want anyone not being able to take care of themselves, because you know me as a person. I try to care about people as much as possible. That there's no way of saying that without sounding egotistical, but you know what I mean. Like I want people to take care of themselves. It's my top priority.
Yeah, you care a lot about your crew, and you want to make sure that everyone is well taken care of and they're well fed and well rested.
Can't make a movie if your crew isn't taken care of.
Yeah, which, I've heard some stories about like some multi-million-dollar film sets out there that aren't doing that. Some crews go home go hungry, or they get delirious from being so tired that they get into accidents or whatever. And that's one of the benefits, I think, of being so small and independent is that we're able to take care of our crews as much as we are.
Yeah, and we're not big enough where we're like, okay, we can just find a replacement for this person.
Yeah.
No, you can't replace anyone on our crew. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're just a PA or if you're getting behind the scenes or if you're doing whatever. You can't be replaced.
Yeah. And to be
Especially
fair to all
crew.
of our PAs, they're not just PAs.
They're not PA. They did so much more than just PA. Like everyone did more than their job description because we're a small crew. We need that. And everyone did I've said this 8 million times already, but everyone did a spectacular job. Like I wouldn't change a thing about personnel and who we had because it was such a great experience for me to also learn how to work with these people and these people I've never met before. But they all did a great job. Like I don't think you're going to disagree at all. And as a producer and as a co-founder of Room 310, like you and I and Dylan all had this vision when we started the company, and we wanted to be able to have sets like that where we can work with people that we haven't worked with a lot before and just create great connections. So I think that was, oh my God, shut up. And that was just such it felt like a full circle moment from when we started Room 310 and what our goal was. And it feels like we're actually like starting to achieve that goal now.
Yeah. No, definitely.
So we just talked a lot about challenges and how we learned on set. What was your best or favorite moment on set? I have the tough questions.
Yeah, you do the tough questions.
I told this to Will, like Piper, my girlfriend, is a journalist, so I know how to ask the tough questions.
Well, you may have muted yourself, but I can see what you're saying, and I know exactly what square that was.
I didn't want to scream "shut the fuck up" into the microphone. Continue. What was your favorite moment on set?
You could always close the window.
The windows are closed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never
the windows
mind.
are thin, and the walls are thin. This is an old building in Leominster. Okay.
Oh, man.
Back to the podcast. What's your favorite moment on set?
That's a tough one because there was a lot of good moments.
I know. That's why I asked the question, because there were a lot of great moments.
Yeah.
I'm going to ASMR mode. I'm sorry.
You said you're going into ASMR?
I was starting to talk like I was an ASMR. I apologize. It was unintentional.
Oh, okay. I see. Honestly, I think one of my favorite moments was when we all went swimming. And also, the hike.
That was fun. That was like my favorite day, honestly. Which actually just dropped behind the scenes day 4 of. It was in behind the scenes day 4, which is a video that we just dropped. So check it out.
And I still can't believe how like fast Isaiah is. Like, I mean, I know that he's athletic.
He was leading the way the whole fucking time.
Yes.
Yeah, he was just going for it. At the end, there's a little part in the video where he says, "You guys want to do it again?" I'm like, haha, no, my legs would fall off. But no, it was kind of like fun, and I feel bad not everyone was there, but it was a great day. We had a great time, and it was good team building, like kind of getting to know each other, hanging out, just having a good time. It was like our third or fourth day there, so it was important.
And then
to me
when
that
we went
did that.
swimming, I still find it funny that and I shouldn't say this because I'm being mean to him, but he's mean to me sometimes, and so it's totally fair.
I think it's justified. Whatever you're about to say, I'll either keep it in or take it out.
No, I just find it funny that Will is not buoyant. Will doesn't float.
Is anyone really buoyant though?
Yeah, but I mean, you can.
If you inhale water, you're not buoyant anymore.
This is true. This
I
is
know.
true. But at the same time, like, everyone else is able to, like, you know, just lay on their backs and float, and he can't do it.
No,
Yeah.
he's just built different.
I say it's because he's from Vermont.
Vermont, plain Vermont.
It's because
Okay,
he's
does that
not.
mean Bernie Sanders isn't buoyant either?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
we'll
don't
see.
Listen, I'm not being mean to most people from Vermont. I'm being mean to Will. I need to clarify
Okay.
that.
Okay, we will clarify that. But no, so
But-
those are two like pretty fun moments. And that,
Vermont in general is fine. It's just Will is Will, and Will and I have like
Will
this
is
back
Will
and forth.
yeah. So yeah, those are two fun moments. I agree with you. Those are two
Yeah.
great moments. I will say the fact that I had to go get food while you guys were swimming, so that was kind of fun for me. I got to catch up with my coworkers that I had at French and Braun a while back. I wasn't with you guys, but I was with
You were with
people I
Dylan,
hadn't
weren't
seen
you?
in a while. I think I went alone.
I thought Dylan went with you.
Dylan came later, I think, and he was there sitting at the bench when I got back, I think.
Oh,
I think he just showed up later.
okay. Yeah.
So yeah, those are
yeah.
some good moments.
No, they were good moments. Yeah.
Any specific moment on set itself that stood out to you?
For some reason, right now, I'm thinking about the basketball scene.
Which
I don't know why.
iteration of it?
I was only there for the original
17
iteration.
1 or 17 reshoot?
I wasn't there for the reshoot, remember?
Oh yeah.
I wasn't there for Cape Cod.
Oh yeah. Why basketball scene though?
Actually, no. Wait. No. Forget the basketball scene.
Oh, okay.
When we were in I'm trying to remember which number scene it was, but it was when it was pouring rain out, it was thundering, and Cash was yelling, and it was a scene. And every time that he yelled or slammed a door or did something, the thunder happened perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Like we couldn't plan for that.
We couldn't, and it screwed us over so much.
No, but it did so well too. It added so much.
You have to think about it this way though, but so I think that was scene 41 if I were to guess. 41 or 42. Shut
Police
41 or
sirens now.
42 I think it was. But what really happened that made it challenging was that all happened in Isaiah's takes, right?
Mm-hmm.
We did Cora's takes separately as well. And that did not happen during
you're
Cora's
right.
takes. So that's where we're having actually a big problem in editing because of that right now. As
You're right.
amazing as it was and on set how perfect the timing was, it didn't click until we got to editing. Like, oh shit, that's not going to sync up properly. Because now Isaiah's audio is, for some reason, much louder because of that noise as well than Cora's audio, which is a lot quieter and there's none of that like thunder and everything. So we have to like.
Is there any
Give and
way
take
that
and
you can
figure
like
it out.
use like the room tone that we got with the thunder?
We tried that. We're using that right now. We're trying to figure that out. That's a really challenging scene because, as like you said, as amazing as it was on set, it sounded amazing, and looking through was awesome, perfect timing, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Editing makes it different.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. I love that moment. That was awesome.
That was a you can't plan that moment.
Oh no, and the thing is, we were already set up for it. We didn't want to stop and wait till it stopped thundering because it was already like 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
It was late, and
that
my
storm
parents
went.
were also living at the house, and they wanted to go to bed.
That storm also went for a long time that night.
It did, yeah. So I mean, and we couldn't have rescheduled it because we had so many different things to film. Our schedule was freaking packed. That was day 3 we were filming.
Was that really day 3? I thought it was a little bit later.
No, it wasn't day 3. Oh, wait. Then it was... It was a different day. Sorry, I lied. I apologize.
It's a tiny bit unprofessional, but the other favorite thing that was on set was when we were doing the classroom scene, and I had a paper airplane.
Why'd you have a paper airplane? I didn't know that. I wasn't paying attention to what you guys were doing. I was paying attention to Will and getting him to be able to use the gimbal properly.
I was trying to throw the paper airplane at you.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
During filming or in between shots?
In between takes.
And you failed miserably, right?
Oh, of course. The thing wouldn't fly.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's why I didn't know.
Will even took the airplane. Will even took the paper airplane at one point.
I'm not surprised. I don't remember that. So maybe it's in the behind the scenes somewhere where Peter was filming, but I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I had it and it would fly, but it would fly so bad because apparently
it would go straight down.
Yeah, it would go and it would just go for a little bit and then it would go poof.
Yeah. That's called a crash land. You should probably work on your paper airplane design skills.
Listen, that was the first time I made a paper airplane in maybe 15 years.
My God. I would go on a little tangent real quick. There's a lot of so we have these giant pads of paper that you would use as a teacher type thing. And at Bedford TV, and when we're teaching, whenever we're done with a piece, I rip it off, and it's this giant 2x4 piece of paper, 2 foot by 4 foot, 2x3 or whatever. And I would take it and I would fold it into a giant paper airplane every time we're done with it, and it would go a solid 2 feet and then plop down because it's so heavy.
Oh,
but
my
I
God.
find it hilarious because
That's
it brings me back to my childhood. So
yeah,
I do whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And
anyway,
then back to.
There was a thing that happened offset that had nothing to do with it. And I did it to myself. In fact, when you found out, you're like, why did you do this?
What?
So when we were staying at the Airbnb one of the nights.
Yeah.
And I think it was actually the night before when we were going into the school and into the
I think so, yeah.
when I slept in my car, and you're like, why the hell did you sleep in your car?
Yeah, what the fuck? We had multiple couches you could have slept on. There was a floor you could have slept on.
I wasn't gonna sleep on the floor, and this is the reason why I didn't want to sleep. Well, there's 2 reasons why I slept in the car. One reason was because I was really tired, and everyone else was still awake and getting drunk, especially Jacob.
Is that me? I was drinking a little. I wasn't drunk. I had 1 or 2 beers.
No, but Jacob was gone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but
it was funny.
So many of those nights, which I love you so much, Michael. But when you had just the combination of people that you decided to put in that studio in your house.
I'm a genius. That's what I'm hearing.
Listen, between Jacob and Murphy getting drunk, but specifically Jacob getting drunk, and Will and his crazy question of the nights.
Oh, and then you just there.
I'm just there, and I'm like, I'm just tired, and I'm just also, this is ridiculous, and this is hysterical at the same time.
But whenever we had... so my reasoning for putting all you guys in there is because that's everyone that we needed for our evening meetings before the next day of filming. We needed a script supervisor, gaffer, DP, you as a producer, and myself, and probably Dylan or whatever. But
yeah,
we did FaceTime for that. And also there's so many people we can fit in there. But I'm really surprised that people had enough time to drink as much as they did when we were there because of how busy we were on set. And I'm really surprised that some people weren't crazy hungover with how much drinking happened. I kind of tried to tell people do not drink a lot the night before filming, and everyone did it on the night before a day off or a morning off. So I'm glad people cared enough to do that. But we had some good times in that studio. We were just like just having a good time.
You didn't have to live the question of the days as much as I did.
I did.
Well, you did, but not as much as me.
Well, no, I would hear the question of the day, and then I'd get so, like, what the hell is going on here? And I'd just go to bed.
Yeah.
So he would ask the question. I'd be like, I'm not answering this, and I'd walk away. And then I'd go to bed.
Well, I mean, that's like, you weren't stuck with him.
Do you know how many hours of shot list calls and editing calls I've had with him so far?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You haven't had as much time around him as I have. But he's fun, so I enjoy it.
He's fun, and he's good. And as much
we
crap
also
as we
bond
give
over
him.
insulting you sometimes, so... Just like you guys bond over insulting me, and he and you bond over insulting me, and it's kind of how...
Yeah, and you and I bond over insulting him.
Exactly. It's like an insult triangle.
We all have, like... I call it banter. We all have banter towards each other.
Oh, yes. That's one good thing about this. Is we've, like... Again, we didn't know most of these people until, like, a day before filming. And we are now solid friends with just about everyone.
Yeah.
So... That's pretty sick. Because I want to see everyone more because I just live in the middle of fucking Leominster, Massachusetts, so no one's near me. Like, everyone lives, like, so far away from each other right now. And because I think that we really did create a lot of good connections on set, and we're all, like, friends now, which is great. Yeah. So I'm kind of disappointed in that. But, I mean, hopefully we get a chance to do it again and work with everyone together.
Yeah.
Another time or two, but I don't know. We'll see what... someone's honking. What's going on, people? But no, I want to work with everyone again because I wouldn't change a thing, and it was amazing.
Yeah. So, the only thing I would change is what happened to Will's car. And also the fact that those lights went missing.
Yeah, I still don't get that.
But his
I still
car,
don't understand. That sucked. That wasn't your fault.
I still feel guilty about it because of the timing.
That was inevitable.
Yeah, I know.
So don't worry. So we talked about kind of your time as like on set, being like a props set designer type thing. But you also helped with a lot of the producing behind the scenes and helping me and Murphy and Dylan with just preparing for filming. So we're kind of going backwards here. But talk to me about your experience helping out with producing stuff like this. Because, again, none of us have produced a film like this. None of us have ever done anything remotely close to this. So... what was it like for you, and how does it make you feel, and what was your experience like?
Well, it's weird because, like, I keep forgetting that I was a producer. So it's like, I guess that's like one of my roles that I had that I didn't think about that much. So I guess it came second nature to me, almost.
Yeah, and I feel like it was easier to kind of like split up the responsibilities because I had a few producers. You in charge of one thing, I had Murphy in charge of another, Dylan and I were kind of working on something, I was working on something. So we were able to kind of split up the responsibilities really easily because of that. But I think that I was really bad at delegating at that point. I was really bad at asking people to help me with stuff. So I will say that a lot of the producing was done by me only because of my lack of ability to delegate and work collaboratively without feeling like I'm intruding on other people's lives.
Yeah.
So, but you did help on a lot of stuff with producing, and I am very thankful that I had you to help. So.
Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, is there anything that you want to bring up and you want to talk about this experience that I haven't brought up yet? Like, is there anything that you want to mention or an experience you want to bring back to memory or whatever? Please say yes, because I feel like you have a lot of things to say. That's not an insult. That's just
That
because you have
feels
a
like
really
an
good
insult.
memory. No, you have a really good memory for things that happen on set that I've just completely forgot because my mind was in a million places at once. So you have a good memory for stuff that I definitely do not remember.
Oh, okay. Well, one thing I wanted to bring up, which, you know, it actually has to do with it has nothing to do with like the set itself, and this is actually goes into pre-production, and it shows just how much scripts and stuff can change throughout. Because I still can't believe that you tried to kill Cash.
So
Like,
I don't know how much we could talk about this on set on this, but I mean, there was a time in which there was a slight possibility that one of the characters does not make it to the end of the film.
slight possibility.
Yes, that was a potential storyline.
Just the waterfall thing and everything. Oh man, that was a turn.
I feel very judged. It was a lapse in judgment, and I regret that.
You're never gonna be able to live it
do.
down.
No, I know. Maybe next time I make a movie, I'll kill someone from falling off a waterfall. So and then this experience has made me like kind of like realize how fun it is to write movies, write a film. Because before this, I had not really had any passion in writing whatsoever. Like, you know me, I hated writing.
Yeah.
But this like sparked a whole new thing in me. Also getting to work on writing it with Piper, who has a really creative mind as well. And she's a fantastic writer, obviously. So I think it was really helpful to have her kind of share the storyline with me, and then getting opinions from you and Dylan and Will and Murphy and everyone kind of is really helpful to get other perspectives. Because you know me, I like getting people's perspective on things to make sure we're doing things right. Well, I mean, if you think about it, I think we've done 18 drafts of the script.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
And I was just gonna say that's since August 2021, and I found like the second and third draft actually a few days ago. They're actually right here. I got him. Doesn't have the date on it, but it was before Room 310 was made because it says MR Productions. I have so many papers in my hand right now. Draft 2, Draft 3. Yeah, we have Draft 7. Draft 7 was June 3rd, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to put these down before I make any crazy loud noises. Loud noise! Sorry. But no, it's crazy how many different iterations of this film we came with, and the different storylines. Like,
Yeah.
it takes a lot of work to write films, and it's not like it's something that, oh, easy, quick and easy, I can do it in a month. No,
That's the thing. A lot of people think that filmmaking is easy, but it's not.
Yeah, I do want to say my parents actually told me this. They were kind enough to let us use their house for a lot of the filming, and Coleen, you were here when they said this, I believe, but they were like kind of shocked by how much work goes into this, because they've never seen like a real film being made. They've never seen they've seen like kind of photos and stuff on like social media and stuff of how it's made, but they've never seen like an entire process from like, this is how long it takes to shoot a scene. And this is just a small like crew. Imagine how it is like $1 million movies and stuff, and $1 billion companies. But they were shocked. They were like, wow, I never knew this much went into filmmaking. And even in the pre-production, I had people, and I was telling them about like all the things we were doing. I was like, wow, this is a lot of stuff that goes into making this movie. I'm like, yeah, this is what you have to do. And they were like, I didn't realize that. And it kind of goes to show that people in our industry are, I think, underappreciated. and under-realized and just under-noticed of what they do. So I think that it's great that we're kind of like, we're also being very open about our, like one of my goals is to be very open about our process and how we made this film, with like bloopers, behind the scenes, that kind of stuff on social media, because I want people to know what it's like and what we had to do to make this giant thing come to fruition.
No, definitely.
I don't know. That's fun thing for me is I like sharing our process with everyone.
I mean, that's something that you've been for a long time, even before River's Edge, sharing our process. Because when we did our capstone together, you did that same thing too, with like the behind the scenes and the meeting and the not weekly, but ever so often we did those videos.
Yeah, and not even just because of, yes, I like showing the process, but it's also fun for me. It's a way for me to also reflect on what we did and how well we did with it and what our process was, and kind of like relive those memories, which is actually what I'm doing. I'm editing behind the scenes right now for River's Edge, and it's, again, a way for me to like relive the memories. I finished editing day 4 and I'm going through day 5 right like today, and it's kind of like a satisfying, like, oh wow, like this felt really good to get this done. Mm-hmm. So it was, it's like a memory like causing thing and remembering all the things that happened, but it's also a great thing to show the process. So that's my goal with it.
Which speaking of the behind the scenes stuff that you're editing, how much footage do you have from Peter?
Oh my gosh. I love Peter. He's amazing, and he did a fantastic job capturing everything behind the scenes. He gave me about 2 hours of footage per day of filming. So to put that in perspective, we filmed for about 16, 17 days. So if we do the math there, 17 times 2, that's like 34 hours of footage I have to go through to create these little episodes of behind the scenes. And I love the footage. I love all of it. And it makes me so happy to have that much footage to look back on. And obviously I'm keeping all of it, but it's hard to take 2 hours of footage and cut down to like a 5-minute behind the scenes video, because there's so many good moments in there. Mm-hmm. And that's not including stuff that I filmed on my phone and Dylan filmed on his phone and you filmed on your phone and whatever footage may be lying around besides Peter's footage. So it's I love all the behind the scenes footage so much, and I love that he got so much. It's just a challenge to pick and choose the right parts to use from 2 hours down to 5 minutes.
Right.
But for any film, like editing any documentary or anything, it's the same exact thing. It's the same challenge. Like if you're making a documentary, you're gonna have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. So you have to. It's editing a documentary while showing the process of making a feature film. So you're literally editing 2 films basically at once right now. But
I mean, it reminds me of what Taylor Dunn said, our professor at Keene, during our capstone about killing your darlings.
Yes, you and Will use that phrase like crazy. I mentioned this when Will was on the podcast, but you and Will are the ones that say that phrase so often, and you're the only people I ever hear say it.
Well, it's because of her.
I know, but it's just funny. You guys are the only ones that I ever hear say that phrase, and you guys say it so often. So I'm like, kind of, I can predict when you guys are gonna say it, basically. So, yeah, it's a very true statement. It's a very true saying, and you kind of have to. It's part of the process. But it's just funny whenever I hear you guys say it. I think the other one of you guys saying it too. So. I got a memory of Will saying it right up there when you said it. So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Any other moments that stand out to you, either on set, before filming, after filming? We're in post-production right now, which I don't think you haven't like seen a lot of the process of that.
No, I haven't been part of post-production that much, or at all.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. With post-production, there's only so many people that can be part of it. It's like we have to start getting a marketing team together, so that's going to happen soon, which I'll probably get you for that as well. Mm-hmm. But just... yeah.
When we made our poster, and, like, when we were looking into, like, the van and, like, everything that you were doing, like, how you were freaking out over the AI with Adobe.
So that poster, I will say, the first poster that we released was because we didn't have any footage. We didn't have anything to work with. We didn't have some sort of preliminary words are hard. Preliminary poster for the film. So since then, we actually just finished another poster, like today, literally today, as of recording this. I don't know if I sent this to you or not.
No, you haven't.
So I'll send it to you right now.
I can look at it. Let me see.
It will be posted on social media, I believe, by the time this is up. By the time this episode is up. But I just texted it to the group chat, the producers group chat.
Oh wow!
I can show it to you if you want it this way.
Oh wow!
Simple, right to the point.
Yeah.
One of the most important quotes in the film is on there. That was Piper's idea. So Piper and I were on FaceTime for like an hour yesterday trying to figure out the fucking poster. But I don't know. I'm a fan of it, and it's now on our IMDb page. So if you IMDb River's Edge 2025, it'll be there.
Yeah.
We're on IMDb. Haha, we're famous.
Is that really what that means? If you have an
No, it's not at all what it means.
No, I know.
Sorry.
To anyone who thought that's what that meant, I'm sorry to crush your dreams.
My gosh, there's Shouting at the Walls is on IMDb too.
Oh my god, Shouting at the Walls. Yep.
It's there. Director, Coleen Finn. Which, speaking of, we need to do an episode on Shouting at the Walls with Will at some point.
The three of us?
Yeah.
Oh god.
Basically just going back to our editing bay days. I know. Those were something, alright.
The thing that there's two things that always stick out in my mind during those editing bay days. You and him doing the crack. Like cracking your necks. You and him cracking your necks.
You need to like really specify that, because doing the crack. We were not doing crack cocaine in the editing bays. I can guarantee you that. Holy shit, Colleen. You have to rephrase things properly.
Phrasing Colleen, god damn it.
You and Will doing the crack? What the fuck?
No, but like, okay, you and Will looked at each other, and then you just like both cracked your necks at the same time because you knew it would freak me out.
Mm-hmm.
And then then that time when Will reached over, grabbed my glasses, put them on himself, and it proceeded to say, "Wow, you have really bad eyesight." And I'm just like, nobody told you to put my glasses on.
The thing that sucks is because of how stressed I am in these moments, I don't remember any of them.
Oh, man.
I don't remember half the moments from being on set at River's Edge. I don't remember half the moments from Shouting at the Walls editing base because they're just gone because I was so stressed out.
Oh my god.
But now that you like reiterate them, I kind of remember them now, which is kind of
You don't
funny.
remember like the neck thing?
I think I have a remembering moment of it.
Also,
speaking of,
the
I can't do it. Oh, there you go.
also that editing bay session when it was snowing out and we just started having a snowball fight and you and him ran to the car and locked me out.
That was fun. I enjoyed that. That was awesome. We were crazy busy that semester. Oh my god. We were editing bays like every single day for hours.
And then just that marathon of that Monopoly game.
Oh god. I'm so glad we didn't finish that game.
God,
I was like on for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, this is true.
I was ready for bed, I think.
No.
Wait, was I?
No, because we went down. You weren't drunk. I was ready for
tipsy, I think.
I'm sorry. I love the fact that you're just your two options are I was ready for bed or I was drunk.
Well, also a lot of the times when I'm drunk, I'm ready for bed. So they all intertwined together. We went very off track with this.
We did. We did. But then again, I don't think I have anything left in me from River's Edge.
Well then, our hour of talking has come to an end.
See, this is what happens. We get off track. It's fine.
It's fine. I think that's a good thing, though. It means that we are comfortable talking about, like, just talking to each other and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing, personally.
Do you want to talk about the fireworks?
The chaos that ensued at the Camden fireworks that we had to, like, run and find people. Jared had to park, like, far away. I think it was also great that we were able to take so much time to kind of do, like, fun things with our like, cast and crew. I think that was important to me.
Yeah.
Because much as I, like, wanted to just get the movie done and do that, I think it was better because we made more connections and had more fun and showed that we're there to have a good time instead of just work.
Yeah, and another example of, like, us having a lot of fun was when your parents threw the barbecue for us. We played both Clue and Cards Against Humanity.
That was awesome. I think that was like one of my favorite times. I kind of forgot about that, but now that you remind me, that was like one of my favorite nights that we had. Everyone came over, had a whole bunch of food.
Yeah.
I think it was like close to the end of filming too, because it was kind of like a little congratulations. It was our like last night of filming at the house. But my dad like made burgers and stuff for us. We had a giant cookout. David and his wife came, and we had just about everyone there. So I was very, very thankful that everyone made the time to come to that, and we had a great night. It was really awesome, and I think that was definitely one of my favorite moments.
No, that was a good moment.
Yeah, and we had marshmallows. That was cool too.
Oh, the s'mores, yeah.
Marshmallows are awesome. I don't really do s'mores. I just take marshmallows and just eat them off the stick.
I know you do.
I know, I can tell. You seem very much wanting to hang up on the call right now. No, I'm kidding. I know. Thank you again for doing this. I think it was a good time. I think we got a good time to talk about just our experiences on set. And it's always great hearing what other people on set thinks, because I have a perspective and I experience things through obviously my perspective, but I like hearing about how you experience things and how Dylan and Will and Murphy and everyone else experience stuff.
And
so,
Piper, don't forget about Piper.
Well, Piper, yes, obviously, but she and I really experienced it in the same way because we were in this like somewhat same position.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again for doing this. Thank you everybody for listening as well, and we will see you next time on Uncropped. Goodbye.